how did one preseason game trigger a billion-dollar marketing blitz? Why did Nike move before the NFL? And what does this mean for every rookie who follows? They were rewriting the entire playbook on how sports superstars are born. While NFL scouts debated arm strength and completion percentages, Nike saw something the league completely missed, a cultural phenomenon disguised as a football player. One preseason game. That's all it took for Nike to double down on what might be the most controversial rookie investment in sports history. No championship rings, no MVP trophies, just 60 minutes of football that sent shockwaves through an industry worth billions. But here's what nobody's talking about. This wasn't luck. This was a calculated power move years in the making, and it's about to change everything. The real story isn't about football. It's about how Nike just outplayed every team in the NFL at their own game. And if they're right about Shedeur Sanders, we're witnessing the birth of something sports marketing has never seen before. Most rookie quarterbacks spend their first preseason game trying not to embarrass themselves. Shedeur Sanders had different plans. In less than an hour, he turned what should have been a forgettable exhibition into must-see television. But the numbers hide the real play. The numbers tell part of the story. 2 touchdown passes, both threaded between defenders like he'd been reading NFL defenses his entire life. A scramble for a crucial first down that showcased not just athleticism, but the kind of field awareness that separates good quarterbacks from great ones. But statistics never tell the whole story. That wrist flex broke the internet. One camera, one gesture, viral in hours. Sports pages shared it, celebrities copied it, and suddenly, a rookie nobody expected to see significant playing time had become the most talked about player in the league. But Nike wasn't surprised. They were ready. Within 24 hours, custom highlight reels featuring Sanders were dominating timelines. The swoosh appeared in every frame, every angle, every slow motion replay. While other brands scrambled to figure out who this kid was, Nike was already 3 steps ahead with a marketing campaign that looked like it had been planned for months. Because it had been. This wasn't accidental. To everyone watching, Nike's move looked spontaneous, a company jumping on the hottest new trend the moment it exploded. But that's exactly what Nike wanted people to think. The reality is far more calculated and far more brilliant. Shedeur Sanders wasn't some unknown prospect who caught Nike's attention overnight. Reports indicate Nike tracked him since his Colorado days and moved early on NIL partnerships. Not the second, not the 10th, the first. That partnership wasn't about college marketing. It was about planting seeds for something much bigger. The NFL watched numbers. Nike watched culture. They watched how Sanders carried himself, how he connected with fans, how his presence alone could shift the energy of an entire stadium. They saw what scouts couldn't measure on a stopwatch. The Air Max 96 revival wasn't coincidence either. By bringing back the exact cleats that made his father legendary, Nike wasn't just making a fashion statement. They were creating a narrative bridge between 2 eras, connecting Primetime's dominance with Shedeur's modern edge. Every piece was positioned perfectly. The gear, the partnerships, the storytelling framework, all waiting for the right moment to activate. When that moment came on August 8th, Nike didn't react. They executed. Here's what separated Shedeur's debut from every other rookie performance. It wasn't just athletic ability that caught everyone's attention. It was the way he processed the game like a 10-year veteran, while still maintaining the swagger of someone half his age. On 3rd and long, with pressure coming from multiple angles, most rookies panic. They force throws, take unnecessary sacks, or check down to safe options. Sanders did something different. He recognized the defense had no edge contain, tucked the ball, and picked up the first down on his feet. Then he slid like a seasoned pro and popped up like it was routine. That bootleg throw said everything about his potential. Rolling out to his left, defenders converging, throwing across his body into a tight window between 2 defensive backs. That's a pass some quarterbacks won't attempt in their 5th year. Sanders delivered it on a rope. NFL analysts were scrambling for superlatives. Veteran-level poise, incredible accuracy under pressure, unflappable calm. These weren't typical rookie descriptions. This was the language reserved for established stars. But Nike saw something even more valuable than football IQ. They saw a player who understood that modern NFL success requires more than just winning games. It requires owning moments, controlling narratives, and building connections that transcend sports. And then it went viral. For a reason. While coaches were breaking down film, The internet was already crowning Shedeur Sanders a cultural icon. The wrist flex became more than a celebration. It became a statement. Within hours, it was gifted, memed, and recreated by everyone from high school athletes to social media influencers. But the real viral explosion came from 3 words. It's man time. That phrase, yelled by a teammate in a hype video, spread across TikTok and Twitter like wildfire. It wasn't manufactured by a marketing team or focus group to death. It was authentic, spontaneous, and exactly the kind of organic content that brands spend millions trying to create. Nike didn't create the moment, but they amplified it perfectly. Custom graphics, targeted campaigns, and strategic partnerships turned a simple phrase into a movement. Suddenly, "It's man time" wasn't just about football. It was about confidence, swagger, and owning your moment regardless of the arena. This is where Sanders separates himself from typical rookie quarterbacks. He doesn't just appeal to hardcore football fans. He connects with the style crowd, the culture critics, and the next generation of sports consumers. That crossover appeal is marketing gold, and Nike recognized it before anyone else. Nike's decision to go all in on Shedeur Sanders wasn't just a marketing deal, it was a declaration of war against traditional sports marketing. For decades, the formula was simple. Wait for proven success, then invest accordingly. Rookies earned their endorsements through performance, not potential. Nike just threw that playbook in the trash. They've done this before, but never quite like this. Jordan's acrobatic dunks, Serena's Grand Slam dominance, Kaepernick's powerful protest. Nike has always known how to turn athletic moments into cultural events. But with Sanders, they're betting on the culture before the athletic achievements pile up. This strategy sends shockwaves through the entire industry. If Nike's gamble pays off, it proves that influence and cultural impact can be more valuable than traditional metrics. Personality over performance, narrative over numbers, viral moments over victory counts. The implications are staggering. If other brands follow Nike's lead, rookie contracts could skyrocket before players even take meaningful snaps. The power balance between athletes and franchises shifts dramatically when marketing value becomes independent of team success. But here's the truly disruptive part. Nike's move forces everyone else to play catch-up while they're already building the next phase of Sanders' brand. By the time competitors realize what happened, Nike will have cemented their position as the company that saw the future first. The Pittsburgh Steelers had multiple opportunities to draft Shedeur Sanders. They passed. The New York Giants, with massive market appeal and merchandising potential, also took a different route. Several other franchises barely gave him a second look during the draft process. Right now, those decisions might seem defensible. Sanders hasn't thrown a regular season pass yet. He hasn't faced elite NFL defenses week after week. The sample size remains microscopic by traditional evaluation standards. But those franchises aren't just potentially missing out on a quarterback. They're potentially missing out on a marketing phenomenon that could define their brand for the next decade. Consider what Sanders brings beyond arm talent. He's a walking content creator, someone who naturally generates the kind of organic buzz that teams spend millions trying to manufacture. His social media presence alone could drive merchandise sales, ticket demand, and national attention in ways that pure football ability never could. While jersey sales stagnate in other markets and fan engagement plateaus, Sanders' cultural impact continues growing. Every viral moment, every highlight-worthy play, every perfectly timed celebration adds value that extends far beyond wins and losses. If Sanders develops into a legitimate NFL star, and early indicators suggest he might, these past opportunities won't just represent missed talent. They'll represent missed movements, missed cultural connections, and missed chances to own a piece of sports history. The teams that passed weren't necessarily wrong about his football ability. They were wrong about what matters in modern sports marketing. What we're witnessing with Shedeur Sanders goes beyond one player or one endorsement deal. We're seeing the blueprint for how Gen Z athletes will build their brands in an era where cultural influence can be more powerful than championship hardware. Sanders understands something that many veteran players still struggle with. Modern sports stardom requires fluency in multiple languages. Football excellence, social media savvy, fashion sense, cultural awareness, and authentic personality all matter equally. Miss any piece, and you're limiting your ceiling. Nike recognized this shift before the NFL did. While teams evaluated Sanders through traditional metrics, Nike was measuring something entirely different. His ability to capture and hold attention in an oversaturated media landscape. The results speak for themselves. Sanders' debut generated more conversation than most playoff games. His celebrations became instant memes. His name trended on platforms that typically ignore preseason football. He achieved something many established stars spend years chasing: genuine cultural relevance. This is the new model. Athletes who can dominate their sport while simultaneously building multimedia empires. Players who understand that peak performance is just the foundation, not the finished product. Nike's investment in Sanders isn't really about football. It's about betting on the future of entertainment, where sports serve as the launching pad for much larger cultural movements. Nike's gamble on Shedeur Sanders represents more than a marketing deal. It's a paradigm shift that could reshape how we discover, develop, and monetize athletic talent. For too long, the sports world has operated on outdated assumptions about what makes someone marketable. The old model required proof before investment, championships before campaigns, statistics before storytelling. Nike just proved that in the age of viral content and cultural influence, those rules no longer apply. If Sanders fulfills his potential, this deal will be studied in business schools as a masterclass in anticipating market trends. Nike didn't just sign a player. They identified a cultural shift before anyone else recognized it was happening. But the real impact extends beyond one company or one athlete. Nike's strategy legitimizes a new approach to sports marketing, where personality, cultural fluency, and viral potential matter as much as performance metrics. They've given every young athlete a new template for building value before proving themselves on the field. The NFL is slowly adapting to this reality, but Nike is already several moves ahead. While teams debate whether Sanders can handle NFL defenses, Nike is building a brand that transcends football entirely. We're watching the birth of something unprecedented, an athlete whose cultural impact might exceed his sporting achievements, backed by a company that bet everything on that possibility before anyone else believed it could happen. The question isn't whether Shedeur Sanders will succeed in the NFL. The question is whether Nike just redefined what success means in professional sports. And based on everything we've seen so far, they might have done exactly that. This isn't just about one player. It's a new playbook. If you want the inside playbook on the next cultural athlete, subscribe and I'll break down the next chapter.